Yes, it's Destination Newry. I'm Rowan Hand. This is Gareth McCullough from the Newry Reporter.
How you doing, Rowan?
Newry's oldest local newspaper by a long chalk.
Yeah, 1867.
1867.
You'd remember the start of that, would you?
Near enough. I go back a long way, of course, but not quite that far. But it's 100 years in a lifetime isn't much, really. Blink and it's gone.
That's it.
It is indeed. You had Van the Man, the good news on the front page today.
Yeah, we have a couple of exclusives in this week's front page.
Don't you dare talk to me about exclusives this week. You got me last week, goodness.
No, these aren't. There's no April Fools anymore. We're a week on, Rowan. I wouldn't be at you again. Van Morrison. For anybody, I'm sure a lot of people watching will be patrons of the Blues in the Bay Festival, run by Ian Sands up in Martin Point. Been hugely successful, as you know. So Van Morrison's coming back on play the Warren Point Town Hall twice on Sunday, May the 24th.
And very kindly, he's giving his money there to all the proceeds to the hospice.
Yeah, I mean Southern Area Hospice Services, as everybody knows, a wonderful organisation, and they do a lot of good work.
Absolutely.
So, it's great to see. I'm sure there'll be the tickets won't be cheap, but they'll be worthwhile.
Worthwhile
when you know they're going to a good cause.
And then, of course, you finally put the stroke unit story to bed.
Well, Jim Wells, I suppose, has finally put the stroke story to bed. He's very sort of unambiguous comments on our front page. I'm saying very emphatically, I will not be changing my decision on this issue. So, unfortunately, after the huge march that we saw, that just went past here last week, it looks like from a point of view, the services will be moved to Craigavon. So, public opinion was maybe a wee bit too late.
Too late. I'm very impressed with Wells's research. He's got the College of Surgeons. He's got the clinical excellence people. He has the medical people there, all saying that there will be a greater survival rate. And I think what people aren't readily aware of, and they should be aware of it, is that nothing changes in the first and immediate treatment of stroke. People will go to Daisy Hill for the injection that bursts the clot. And that's still going to be the case. It's afterwards, in recovery and recuperation, you go to Craigavon.
Yeah, so I think, as you say, he certainly has backed up his comments with evidence from the people, I suppose, in the know. So, that's not to say that I suppose the march wasn't worthwhile. But it was good, I suppose, to see the public coming out in support of something. But
it's a mighty front page. two very strong stories.
Yeah.
And you can be quite proud of it, I'd say.
Yes, Brian wrote both of them. Shame he's not here this morning. About it, but
hello, let's greet him. Hello, Brian. How are you?
And
will he forgive us for that? He will.
I'm sure he will. Brian's quite relaxed,
You're going to your favourite end of the paper.
We'll go back and forth, if that's all right.
Okay.
Easter Tuesday, we had the Middlesbrough Shield final between, again, it was two local clubs, repeated last year's final, Windmill Stars against Orchard City. It proved to be a comfortable win. Windmill retained their title. It beat Orchard City 4-0. Orchard's Peter Markey probably didn't help his team's cause. He was sent off after about 45 seconds.
How does a man get sent off after 45 seconds?
It was a Windmill player, I believe it was Josh McCullough, was on the ground after a tackle, and by all reports, and I have to admit I didn't see it, but it was right in front of the assistant referee. He's believed to have sort of, shall we say, flicked his boot out and kicked the player on the ground. So obviously he can't do that. I'm sure, without me piling on any angst to his agony, I don't think it he knows he's probably done wrong. But yeah, Windmill, they're one of the premier teams at that level in the country. So they were back-to-back titles, the fourth Middlesbrough Shield title in history. So if we move back to news, I suppose it was another big story. Councillor Kevin McAteer, SDLP councillor, who, as the headline says, from Hugh McShane, I believe.
He's the chairman of SDLP.
Branch. He says resignation deprives voters of SDLP voice on new council. I don't think Councillor McAteer had been in the job maybe 3 days.
It almost smells of a plot in some way. How did it take him so little time to say, this is not for me, a plague on your house, SDLP, I don't want to be part of you? Pity he didn't say that when he went up for election.
Just reading the story, again, it's another Brian Hyland story. He just before the announcement, he was selected to represent the party in a number of bodies and internal committees. Selection process the SDLP said McAteer was a part of. Now, he did release a statement through an online publication, and then has subsequently refused to speak to, certainly refused to speak to us, and he hasn't been speaking to any other paper, which I find a bit sort of strange. If he's able to make that decision, then he should be capable of coming.
Well, I would also feel a high level of political instability there. If you can campaign for the months of campaigning for the SDLP, and then within days almost say, a plague on your house, I want no part of you. And then to say, I'm not going to talk about it.
Yeah,
I don't think I would want this fellow to represent me as an independent or anything else.
Well, I suppose it's you know, I suppose we want to be careful not to be disparaging about somebody, but at the same time, if you are making a big decision, and it's a decision, you know, there are a number of people obviously that voted for him. You know, he's answerable to them, and to then not speak after the fact and not have the courage of his convictions, maybe, you know, it probably maybe leave a sour taste in a few people's mouths. But you know, I suppose
I
it
certainly,
may be all point in the wash.
Yeah, I would certainly have more respect, political respect, because he's a wonderful person. He's a wonderful human being. I'm talking strictly politically here. But I would have more political respect for him if he came in, sat down, and explained in detail what it's all about. Because there are bad taste in mouth, yes. Questions unanswered, yes. And it's not going to go away. No,
you wonder sort of, you know, if he does, obviously he'll be an independent councillor now. You know, how do the electorate respond to that? You know, I don't think it's maybe going to, in the long run, maybe not going to do him any favours, but you never know. Then a couple of pages after that, again on a politics angle, two conservative candidates, both from England, both British based, are running in the local parliamentary constituencies, which is probably slightly unusual for around here. You know, obviously we've actually started the build up to the elections.
Yes, I see this.
So it's it's an interesting one. You know, be interesting to sort of see the reasons for it. You know, so it's the two Tory party candidates. So I don't know how much sway they might have around here, but you never know.
Yes,
you never know. Again, but on that note, as we touched on there, we've 4 pages this week. Election coverage. Yeah,
General election
coverage. What we're doing is, if anybody has seen the paper, we've picked 8 topics. The first 2 this week are welfare reform and crime. And we've spoken to, our journalists have spoken to each candidate from in the Newry Armagh constituency and the South Down constituency. And over the course of the next 4 weeks, we'll have 2 topics each week, which the candidates will be able to put their views across. And then we'll also, I think in the last week, we'll have a sort of why should you vote for me sort of thing. So everybody's getting a fair crack of the whip. It means anybody that buys the paper will get you know, a good overview of who they may want to vote for, who they maybe certainly don't want to vote for. But you know, it's they're obviously, you know, there are established candidates and established politicians like Danny Kennedy, Mickey Brady and Newry Armagh, Margaret Ritchie in South Down, Jim Wells, Henry Riley. Then you obviously have your newer candidates, have the likes of Justin McNulty from the SDLP, who's making a big push. But it'll be interesting for people to read.
I would say it's a pity for McNulty. He's up against Brady, because Mickey Brady is one of the iconic social workers of this area. I see him as a social worker before I see him as a politician. And that's so Justin McNulty will have his work cut out there. I'd say.
I mean, I believe there was an 8,000 vote difference the last time. Now, there may well be a swing, but for there to be an 8,000 vote swing, it will be, you know, be highly optimistic. But you know, I suppose it's up to the people.
They will answer.
Exactly. So moving back to my favourite part of the paper, as you call it, to sport. We spoke to the Clonus Cyclone himself, Barry McGuigan.
Wow, I remember him.
And Barry obviously is now, you know, he was iconic as a boxer, winning the world title in 1985, and you know, not only inside the ring but outside the ring, you know, played a big part in sort of, I suppose, bringing communities together. He's now probably better known as being Carl Frampton's manager. So he was in, Barry himself was in Windsor Hill Primary School a couple of weeks ago, as part of the Titanic showdown in September, I think it was, when Frampton won his first world title. because Decal put in quite a lot of money, a lot of investment.
Yes.
There was an agreement that Barry and his foundation would go around a number of schools in the country, give out sporting
we were
equipment
one of them.
and stuff. And Windsor Hill and St Joseph's Primary School, Bestbrook, were two of the lucky schools. Only 13 of them selected.
Okay, can we tell the people now? There's no reference to it in your paper this week, but coming very, very shortly on the programme, the Honorary Consul for the Great Republic of Poland, the Honorary Consul in Northern Ireland, Jerome Mullen, will be with me talking about the increase over the last 12 months in the attacks, the hate crimes that are being perpetrated against members of our ethnic minority communities here. That's coming up shortly. Now, please continue.
Barry, it's actually quite good timing. We actually held the interview for a couple of weeks and used it this week. He particularly talked about Carl Frampton, his possible next bout where he goes to try and retain his title, or it might be a unification fight against the Englishman Scott Quigg. Now, Scott Quigg came into the ring after Frampton's last bout at the end of February, so it led to believe many people that that was going to be his next opponent. Now, Eddie Hearn, who's Scott Quigg's manager, went on Sky Sports News, I think only on Tuesday or yesterday morning, with a cheque for £1.5 million for Frampton to fight Quigg. And the Frampton camp, including McGuigan, have laughed it off and said the fight will be in Frampton's terms.
Wow.
Because the difference is, as I'm sure you've seen, Frampton can sell out the Odyssey, he can sell out venues in Northern Ireland 3 times over.
Yeah.
Barry McGuigan's quoted in this saying, well, Scott Quigg can't. So really, if you're going where the money is. Ironically, it said that the first meeting that they had between the two camps, and the only meeting they've had between the two camps, was on shortly after this photograph was taken in Windsor Hill. There was a celebration of sport event in the sports centre afterwards, but in between times, Barry McGuigan told us he was going down to the Ballymascanlon Hotel for a meeting, and that meeting was on the exact date that the meeting has taken place. So that's where he was going. So he met him in the Ballymac. So there you go. So high level boxing taking place just down the road.
Start to draw me to a close, if you would.
I will do. Yeah. So just in the sports section, we talked last week. Armagh had qualified for their Division 3 League National League final.
Down has done well.
Yeah, Down came away with a 3-12 to 115 win against Laois at Park.
Does that mean they now go into the First Division?
Yes. So Armagh are up in the Division 2 regardless. Now they both have a division final. The Division 2 final for Down, Division 3 final for Armagh. Down play Roscommon on April 26th in Croke Park. They're already promoted, but they're back up to the top league now.
Top league, is that the same kind of league as Kerry and Dublin?
Yeah.
They're the big guys now.
Yeah, Kerry and Dublin. Tyrone were relegated. You'll have Cork, you'll have Monaghan. As I said last week, it'll stand you in good stead going to the championship.
Absolutely.
So Jim McCurry's got he's a potential for silverware in the very first opportunity.
I love that sort of phrase in the sporting fraternity. A potential for silverware.
Potential for silver. There's, I suppose, any competition yet. Potential for silverware.
Listen to me. Thanks very much for coming in.
Thank you.
Very, very good.